This is actually this is my second PhD. And I have the first 5 master's degree. And I like to study more. And I understand that if there is a systematic education, I learn more. Okay. My PhD proposed title is the core curriculum for publication ethics. This is the table of contents. I can put the page number because I think there will be many citations and it will be go longer. Okay, this is acronym. Now, actually, publication is the final stage of research. Misconduct may have a detrimental effect on credibility of research and reliability of scientific literature, as well as the destructive consequences on people as a whole. Fraudulent data and plagiarized manuscripts may affect the medicine given to person and actually harm the patients. PubMed in 2012 revealed that 67%, more than 67% retraction were attributed to misconduct, including fabrication of data, duplication, publication, and plagiarism. PLOS also marked internet that the retraction based on fraud have increased tenfold since 1975. Availability of internet access, young scientists are now publishing their research by cut, copy, paste, or preparing of a manuscript by some modification. Most of the cases, researchers do not have basic knowledge of publication ethics. Therefore, they submit hurriedly prepared, poorly drafted, or even illegitimate publication. Therefore, a guidelines core curriculum for publication ethics is proposed to train students of graduate or postgraduate students, graduate students on ethical scientific writing. Knowledge of the students was increased tremendously by this research and of the text on publication ethics. Though some components of publication ethics were taught hurriedly, and this part need more time to grasp the total idea. This core curriculum may create awareness about the norm and principles of publication ethics, avoiding unintentional manipulation in writing, and change the attitude for good publication practice in general. This is the chapter 1, introduction. Actually, according to the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, authors are those who have substantial intellectual contribution to the manuscript and take public responsibility for its contents. Single contributions such as acquisition of funding, providing technical services or materials, general supervision of the research group, data collection, data analysis, writing or editing assistance are generally not adequate to justify authorship. But it has been seen that the head of the institution or the department or the research group, editor, medical writers or the statisticians are attributed as an author without any contribution to research. Some authors who neither do work for the research nor meet the authorship criteria are attributed as honorary authors, gift authors, or guest author as an anticipation of increase the chance of publication or improve the prestige of publication. Honorary author is widely condemned and in the extreme and is considered as a misconduct. Education on publication ethics among authors, researchers, reviewers, and editorial colleagues are needed to change the attitude for good publication practice and to avoid such malpractice in writing. Most of the journal consider publication of article in a journal that has not been published elsewhere. Author also clarified that the article has not been published or being accepted for publication elsewhere in any language. Submitting a paper to multiple journals at the same time by disregarding instruction to author is considered as a violation of publication ethics. Plagiarism. According to Committee of Publication Ethics, defined plagiarism is a reproduction of work without receiving proper permission or providing appropriate citation. According to US law, plagiarism is a criminal act and punishable. But a survey on 16,000 students from 31 reputed US universities reported that 66% of the plagiarized at least once in a life. Many academics plagiarize often because they are not sure of what constitutes plagiarism and how to avoid plagiarism. In some cases, published scholarly articles contain imperfection in research design, data fabrication, result manipulation, or plagiarism. If researchers follow a flawed article in future research, the result of the research will be imperfect. Small mistake may have a potential disaster in the research. Therefore, flawed published material are retracted from the read. A study on 2,000 retracted articles from the biomedical literature shows that the majority of the retracted articles were retracted due to some form of misconduct. A study revealed that fraudulent research of $58 million was funded by the National Institute of Health has been retracted. Many patients have been provided wrong treatment based on these fraudulent studies. Data shows that 96% of researchers have potential source of biasness to write a drug or make the research result in favor of manufacturer if research is supported by pharmaceutical industry. Any type of funding, including commercial, charity, or government, should be disclosed in the publication to understand the readers about the potential conflict of interest. Lack of knowledge prevents researcher to compliance to conflict of interest disclosure during scientific presentation or publication. Peer review process helps in evaluating and validating the research that is published in journal. Researcher Jan Hendrik Spoon published over 100 articles in 4 years, and reviewer failed to detect 16 cases of misconduct in his article. Now question is, had this article been peer reviewed before publication? Superficial peer reviewing process does not reveal any suspicion of misconduct. Reviewers has responsibility to review the article and consider all the issue including misconduct, conflict of interest, etc. raised by the research. Lack of knowledge of systematic review process not only lost the academic integrity in publication, but also lost the trust of people. From above literature, it is obvious that there is a gap in basic knowledge of publication ethics, especially in early career academics. Good publication practice do not develop by chance and can be established only by promotion of publication ethics. Therefore, this thesis has been undertaken to aware about the norm and regulation of publication ethics to avoid unintentional violation of ethics in writing. This is the short methodology. This is my hypothesis. My hypothesis is that the education on publication ethics may avoid inevitable inadvertent violation of the rules and regulation in publication ethics. So this is my objectives. Objectives are to aware about the course of publication ethics in the medical writing, to examine how to avoid inadvertent violation of publication ethics, and to consider how to reach the reasonable solution. My research question is, does the core curriculum of publication ethics change the knowledge and attitude of authors? This is the importance. Okay, there is some limitation. Neither has it covered all aspects of the publication ethics. This is one of the limitations. And the minimum hours are presented in this core curriculum in order to raise the awareness. It is the minimum number of hours. We need more hours. It is not intended to impose a particular model of teaching and learning, but rather it is a source of idea and suggestion on how to approach the learning of publication ethics. Actually, this thesis on core curriculum of publication ethics was written between January 2016 to December 2017. Actually, my thesis has to finish on December, but Darryl said quickly and finish. So I have to finish in the beginning of the December. Anyway, my thesis has two parts. First part, a retrospective normative research part for the development of core curriculum, and descriptive, and followed by the cross-sectional study, a survey. Retrospective normative research part was done based on the literature review. This part focused on core curriculum development for publication ethics and formulation of syllabus for 2 credit hour, and also formulated text resource according to the syllabus for the early career academics. A descriptive cross-sectional study was done by pre-test and post-test survey form to understand the current knowledge and attitude of our learners on publication ethics, and how proposed text source improve the knowledge, skill, attitude of academics. Survey was done during a workshop on publication ethics among 50 postgraduate students in Bangladesh over a period of 3 days by self-administered structured survey form. The target group core curriculum is targeted for the master students or the nursing, master students of nursing, medical, dentistry, healthcare science, public health science as an academic training and continuing education. Survey form was designed containing 50 questions. The survey form consists of 2 parts. The first part concentrates on obtaining demographic data about the sex, age, and the educational qualification of the participants, number of the publication, course of or training on publication ethics, information about some definition, as for example ICMGE, for uniform requirement for publication, manuscript submitted to biomedical journal, ORI. The second part was dedicated to a self-assessment of the knowledge of each respondent regarding the awareness about the publication ethics in the medical writing. Participants were given a choice of yes or no and not sure to measure the knowledge. This is the actually strategy to giving the teaching. And during the teaching period, the interactive, in addition the lectures, case presentation and video also shown. These are the exclusion. And there is no disadvantage to participate in this survey, and there is no potential risk or hazard to participate in this survey. Only their knowledge on publication ethics was evaluated. Written informed consent were obtained from the students prior to start survey. All the information had shared among the students. The information provided by students were totally confidential and was not to be disclosed to anyone. If it was only be used for research purpose. No name or identifying information was included in the self-administered survey form to assure anonymity. Okay. There are certain limitations in the present survey. This is questionnaire-based survey, and hence the result rely on the replies that was received. However, as this is a pilot study from Bangladesh and effort to capture the existing situation of the level of the knowledge, hence it is not. It is need to be validated through further study by undertaking with large number of participants and more duration of time for training workshop in near future. The sample size of this study is limited. It may not represent the national scenario. All the principles of publication ethics have not been explored to some same extent. Okay, how can I get the feedback? This is my flowchart. Let's start. And this is the syllabus. I made this syllabus for 24 hours and additional 6 hours, altogether 30 hours, that means the 2 credit hours. So introduction, then what is the publication ethics, authorship, plagiarism, duplication, publication, retraction, conflict of interest, peer review, system confidentiality, intellectual property, IRB, and referencing system. All have the same component: the introduction of objectives, historical background, definition, discussion, and conclusion, and many more. Now the chapters that I built up through the literature review for the study period, and authorship. This is the authorship. I am not going to discuss or read out in details. This is the authorship. This is the text material I have developed about according to the syllabus. This is 19 pages description on authorship. This is misconduct. This is another 19 pages on the misconduct. If anybody are interested, you can read, because that will email everybody. And plagiarism. This is also chapter. Another 19 pages chapter. These are the duplication publication. These are the chapters I have developed for the teaching in concise form, in easy form. Retraction. What is retraction? Everything is there. These all are based on the literature. Okay. I can skip. Conflict of interest you have seen. Peer review, chapter 10, I have completed. Type of peer review system. There are many type of peer reviewing system. Many different type of peer reviewing system are important for different settings. Now the result. A descriptive cross-sectional study was done by pre-test and post-test survey form to understand the current knowledge and attitude of learner on publication ethics, and how the proposed text resource that I have shown at this moment, just a few minutes ago. This text resource improved the knowledge, skill, and attitude of academics. Survey was done during different settings of workshop over a period of 3 days on publication ethics among 50 postgraduate medical students in Bangladesh by a self-administered structured questionnaire. The mean age of the respondent was 30, And all the respondents who were at the thesis part of their postgraduate study, they did not have any previous course or training on publication ethics. There is also no provision for education on publication ethics by the institution. I got this information from this survey. And when I asked some questions, some definitions, some very common question, what's the meaning of the ICMG, what is the meaning of the COPE, ORIM, WAME. Before education, no one can answer, but after education, 100% can answer. And I have asked the meaning of the authenticate, turnitin, cross-ref. Do you heard this term? Before education, only the 7% says that they heard the term, because these are the plagiarism checker, you know, and but 7% answered that they heard the term, this plagiarism checkers. But after education, 93% says that they know the plagiarism checker. Regarding authorship, just I highlighted some. I asked the question, do you like to accept whether you didn't deserve authorship? Before education, 80% says no. But after the education, 100% says they know. Correct answer, no. They don't deserve. They don't want to include unnecessary, undeserved authorship. And I asked, should a principal investigator always be first author on the paper? And 58% says the yes, but after the education, 86% says the yes. First author should be the principal investigator. And I asked the question about did you do reciprocal agreement with colleagues to exchange authorship to increase the number of publication? Before education, 80% says no, but after education, everybody says they no, they don't want, they don't like to reciprocal agreement between the colleagues to increase the number of their paper. And another question was should author contribute be required to state in the article? Before education, 68% says the yes, but after education, everybody says the yes. The author contribution should be included in the article. Okay. And I asked the question, do you understand the meaning of the order of authors? Before education, 34% only says the yes, we know, understand the order of the author, who will be next, But after education, all students says that they understand after education, they say they understand the author order. And if you go this one, you keep honorary authors or guest author in your article? Before education, everybody says, 66% says that they will keep the honorary author. Only 34% says that they don't keep honorary author or guest author in their article. But after education, everybody says no, we don't like to keep any guest author or the honorary author in our articles. Okay, and regarding the questions of the criteria of the authorship, do you know the criteria of authorship? Before and after education on publication ethics, majority respondent, 60% felt that who is involved, at least one part of the experiment should be the author. After education, though they did not want to include those who help in the research, design and secure grant as author. But this result did not show any change by education actually. Criteria of the author, you are showing this graph, that is the 60% says before education, blue one is before education, and yellow one is the after education. Before education 60%, almost same say that they know the criteria of the author. It is seen that they don't understand actually that much the criteria of the authorship in this. From this result it is shown. Last author, who will be the last author? In this question, actually, before education, 48% said that the last author will be the supervisor. After education, these 74% says dramatically increase the percentage who like to keep the last author as the supervisor. Supervisor is the last author. The correct answer. That is the correct answer. Okay. And author order 72%. I have said this one. Only the before education 68% says the according to contribution author should be included, and after the education they said the 72% according to contribution the author order should be included. If the contribution is more, he or she will be the first author. If the contribution is less, he will be the third author, fourth author. And during authorship dispute, who will meet up the dispute? Most of the before education, 52% said that the PI will meet up the dispute. But after the education, 60% says that is not statistically significant, and also said that the journal editor also meet up, and the sponsor will meet up. But this answer is not correct actually. PI should be meet up the authorship dispute. Here the before education honorary author, they don't keep honorary author. Who is the honorary author? I asked the question. Before education 80% say the head of the department who provide the lab, they are the honorary author. After education 70% says that the head of the department should be the honorary author, because in our culture it is a non-written written law that the head of the department are the one of the author, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. After education, they understand. The head of the department is the honorary author. Honorary author should not include in the writing. Copy paste. Before education, only 6% says that yes, they did the copy paste in their writing. But after and the 94% said that no, I didn't. But after education, the yes number is increased double, and the no number is a little down. Probably after during education, we said that in US they are doing the copy and paste at least one in life. Probably hearing these things, they are courage enough to confess that they did the plagiarism in copy paste in their writing. And how to prevent plagiarism? In this question, actually, before education, only 6 says that paraphrase and reference. And after education, all are BD, that means the paraphrasing and referencing. And the quotation and reference, it is correct. It is the correct form to prevent the plagiarism. If I take the whole sentence from the other word, we should write down paraphrasing and referencing, and or the quotation, within the quotation mark we can keep the sentence and with reference. It's correct answer. Then one question, do you think one article can submit to another journal if delayed? In this question, 48% says don't know. But after education, everybody says no, we don't send the article if it is delayed. And another question, do you think the same article can be published in another language? In this case, 34% are not sure, don't know. But after education, everybody says no, we don't publish in same article in another language. And do you think 2 or 3 articles can be made from a research thesis? In this question, 40% says yes, and 40% not sure about that. But after the education, everybody said no. Only from one thesis, 100% says the no. Only one thesis can be made from one article can be made from one thesis. And okay. And here you can see that the results shows that after education the knowledge is increased. So I'm not going to show more. Here the conflict of interest. Regarding the conflict of interest, before education 70% says that yes, they understand the meaning of conflict of interest. But after education, everybody says that they understand now the conflict of interest. What is conflict of interest? Here is the table. Also show some. Do you think conflict of interest evolve when manuscript is sponsor specific? Then 68% says yes, and 34% don't know. Actually, they are not sure. They are confused. But after education, 100% says yes. It is, if it is sponsor specific, there will have the conflict of interest. And do you think CME program must sponsor a pharmaceutical company? 74% say that they no, but after education, 100% say that no. CME program should not be sponsored by the pharmaceutical company, because if the program is sponsored, the biasness will be there. Doctor will be biased to write the specific drug, even it is even that is the very expensive to the poor people. Okay. Here's another table I like to show. The conflict of interest arise if the research is funded by 80% says the funded by pharmaceutical company. And after the education, the is 80% before education, and after education 86% is if funded by the pharmaceutical industry, the conflict of interest may arise. And there is also some say the funded by the international agency, and also some say the funded by pharmaceutical company, funded by the government, or even the international agency, the conflict of interest may arise. So it is not significant statistically. Probably this chapter is hurriedly teach and therefore they don't understand actually what I teach. And this is the before education conflict of interest maybe arise from the financial. Most of the say the financial and the political cause. 6% and 20% says we don't know. But after the education, all most of the respondent, 82% said that it may be financial, it may be academic, it may be religion, it may be political. It's correct. And only 18% says the financial. They could answer correctly. And the cause of the retraction in this question, they said before education, they said maximum said 44% said that if the data is fabricated, that time it should be retracted from the VU. But after education, they says most of the says the 74% says if the data is fabricated, result is fabricated, falsification of result or the plagiarized article or self-plagiarism, all are the cause of the retraction article from the VU. Now my discussion. Okay. Actually, they learn publication ethics from teacher for a certain extent during their postgraduate course. No one had any publication before. No respondent knew the meaning of the ICMG. I have said it. Okay. 80% respondent felt they will not accept authorship or where they did not deserve in future, and don't make reciprocal agreement with the colleagues. And the moral upbringing, so the moral upbringing of the students were outstanding, and they learned morality from the teacher as a role model. And 100% student felt author contribution should be stated in the article. They also felt not to include honorary guest author in their article. Question of honorary author publication ethics dramatically changed the respondent's knowledge, and after education, most of these, that means 70% respondent did not want to include honorary author. The cause behind these, maybe they did not understand this component of the authorship very clearly. Most of the students, okay, actually for the plagiarism, there are the mixed answer in certain question on the plagiarism before education. It is before and after. It is interesting to report that after education and publication, all the respondents answered the question correctly. In the conflict of interest, most of the respondents replied that they feel conflict of interest arises if the research is funded by the pharmaceutical company. This part was taught hurriedly, and some question they have the mixed answer. They cannot answer correctly. Probably this part was taught hurriedly due to shortage of time. That's why they did not understand this component properly. For retraction, 100% says change the respondent attitude and the knowledge dramatically. Of 74% respondent replied fabrication, falsification, plagiarism and self-plagiarism is the cause of retraction. This is my concluding remark, that this knowledge of a student was increased tremendously by the text on publication ethics, though some component of publication ethics were taught hurriedly, and this part needs more time to grasp the total idea. More workshop are needed to test the syllabus of publication ethics to finally conclude the substantial remark of success of the core curriculum of publication ethics. The moral upbringing of postgraduate medical students were outstanding, and they learned morality from the teacher as a role model. And my recommendation, these are the some recommendation. Actually, supervisors should endorse publication ethics so that they can be competent enough and can handle the issue of inappropriateness when it arises. Institution, university should encourage in publication ethics education. editor and publisher should endorse policy to prevent wrongness with scientific medical writing, and government should take policy to incorporate publication ethics in medical curriculum. And this is the acknowledgement. I acknowledge I acknowledge and thanks Dr. Darul Nasser for his patience and constant supervision and invaluable suggestion in making improvement in conceptualization and planning of the research. I am also grateful to him for his meticulous correction of his thesis. And this is the bibliography. And this is the annexure. I like to shed out some light. I made the author. On the ground on the literature survey. I made the author agreement form. Before starting the research, we should sign this agreement form. And there is another conflict of interest form also, so there will be no dispute during or after the research. This is conflict of interest form. And informed consent form. This is informed consent form. This is informed consent form in Bangla. This is questionnaire. You can go through questionnaire if you like during your leisure time to understand 50 questionnaire. This is questionnaire in Bangla. This is the this is the ethical approval of from Bangladesh Bioethics Society, and this is the from Bangladesh, and this is the ethical clearance from the AUSN. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shamima. So I'd like to ask for questions
and comments.
And comments. And yes, Tashlima first. Thank you. I hear.
Yeah, Professor Dr. Shamima Lasker has done another PhD because her PhD is very exhaustive, and the data she has collected is fantastic. But it bogs down in my mind the things which are going on in every country, even in Malaysia. I wrote a piece on maintenance, and it has been written again by some others, authors getting together and not even taking my permission. So, plagiarism is everywhere, not only in Bangladesh, but in every country plagiarism is there. There's a trend to, have more authors. First you write an article with some author, and then they take advantage of you. And that advantage, they make more articles, not only 1, 2, 3, 4 articles, on the issue. They just bring out the issues into different perspectives, and then, but the main author is nowhere there later on. So this is a very pertinent issue, which Professor Shamima Lasker has rightly pointed out in her PhD thesis, and I congratulate her for her success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shamima, for a very relevant and extensive and intensive study. And this is something, because since I teach in North South University, and since I deal with the NPH students, I have seen that many of them submit papers which they just copy and paste. And they have no idea about referencing, no idea of plagiarism, and for me to go through so many papers is very, very difficult. But if there's a course like this to help them And even BMRC, Bangladesh Medical Research Council, if they have these standards and if they have a certificate course like this is really going to be very, very helpful, because this will cut down on the poor quality of the work that is going on and the duplication of work. Because I have seen many of my work being presented as theirs. Even my lecture notes, now I don't give soft copies in my lecture notes now. I only give hard copies, because then I have seen in different conferences all these things have been shown, and photos and pictures that I have taken were there without even referring to my authorship. So I think this is very, very relevant, and I really thank you, and this is going to be very, very helpful for all of us in Bangladesh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shahanas, thank you.
Thank you. Shamima, it's really, I really appreciate that you have really covered the area that is relevant so much, as because we are doing research, and in the research field it is really a burning issue, publication ethics. So in that aspect you have covered the literature, and you have two parts, the literature coverage, and also you did the quantitative analysis also, So in that space you have covered everything. So in one thing is really I have seen, because I work at the university, I have seen many of the faculties, they are doing the research and seeing all those criteria that you are fulfilling before education and after education. I think you need to go. Because I have this month, last month, end of this month, we have a seminar, public health seminar. So I really hope that I will because keynote speakers already have been informed, so I cannot make you go in that way, but I would really appreciate if you can submit your abstract and you can present there, because I really want that people should know what is going on, because even though they are doing the research, there are lots of things that is going unethical. I have seen in my own eyes. One is that the same research they are cutting into three and placing into different conferences and going for conference and having the grant scholarship. And I asked, how can you do that? Well, it's okay. Suppose just giving out one sample, suppose knowledge, attitude, practice. They have done something regarding that. They'll break it into three pieces. That means knowledge, this and somewhere, attitude, and that means they bring out three kinds of paper publication. Can they do that? They can never do that. So I really have some kinds of argument with those things, So so I would like that you should come to our seminar, and really I want you to present there, so that there will be wonderful to have an idea, because that will be a good platform for you to share in this country for you, because it's very nearby, It's on 28 and 29. Okay, Abba? And I congratulate you for bringing up this kind of things, and I'll make sure that I have a copy in my department, because when I supervise my students, I can show that these things are there, because then I have the solid concrete, because the literature review and the referencing are there. So it's not only my things, and I'm going to say I can just show them, see, this is the thing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abba.
Thank you, Shanas, for offering me on 28 and 29 December for the seminar. I love to deliver my lecture to know the publication ethics, to let the people know the publication ethics. Thank you. I will go.
Thank you. I'll just give one advice for everybody. If you plagiarize somebody's paper, please never submit it to the journal that they're the editor of. I've had someone submit a plagiarized copy of one of my papers to the Bias Journal of Asian and International Bioethics as a chief editor, and I thought, this paper looks quite good and familiar. It was plagiarized, this person, and then I wrote to him and said, by the way, you submitted this. This person was also applying to come to work with me at UNESCO, and I tried to get an explanation of why this person plagiarized the paper, and he said, I like the paper very much. I didn't have any quotations, so please be a bit more smart than that. I thought that's not very smart and therefore excluded as well from 2 counts.
If I can come in into just 1
Yeah.
minute, my lectures, 30 years back are, written by my students. They just write their names and then publish that. Because it is unpublished material, so they just publish that in their own name. So this is going on, and you can find that in Neil Kit, that is my lecture, Dr. Shamima Monsu's lecture. It's there in Neil Kit and published by my students. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Nazneen, yeah.
Thank you, Shamima. It is such a comprehensive and rigorous way you have done this, and I think this is not only comprehensive, it's important and timely.
Yeah.
And it is very much a kind of a dire need to our every academic and all the institution, and it is really very comprehensively taken care of. My certain of the points, just it's my kind of a clarification, I really want to get more clarified on this. One is this is a kind of a research you have done, it is more kind of information-based evidence generation and followed by your curriculum. So it's an operation research kind, you need just 3 bits on it. Yeah? So this is very deep and widely thought out. Maybe you can think about it because you have done the core curriculum and you design based on your information needs and then you design it. So you can think about a post kind of work even afterwards. May not be kind of a PhD work, but a kind of extended post research based on, again, when you are already in the implementation process of this curriculum. So you can think and design on that to make the curriculum more kind of audience-oriented, more clarified. Yeah? So that is one of the area. And I was thinking when you mentioned about this curriculum is widely open to the nurses, to the certain of the doctors and all the medical related people around. So, but when you interviewed the only doctors, I found 50 of the doctors. So you didn't catch up the mind of the others. No? So that really just little bit came to my mind, one of the thing. And another is, I don't know, it's my question to every other audience over here, particularly Professor Derry, please, and another professors are also here, and also here from the MRC. So I just want to be more clarified. Apa, Tasnima, Patni, Lasker, so you all are professors. Just to know that if there, I have heard many plagiarism is a part of the world. It's modern people also, even intellectually high people have seen so many plagiarism. So I don't want to put, it's a morality question, sometimes you are very skeptical on your work, you are very kind of, authentic in your way of producing knowledge. Okay, it's my piece of thing, I am proud of that. I don't want to catch up anybody's mind into my work. This depends on the total in my in-person morality and ethical, so I don't want to say something on that, but I have seen many of the people who have done their PhD, they are very famous and high-handed people, so they have gone through certain other topics which is quite widely covered and it has a lot of areas that will be taken care of. So after the PhD has been done, they didn't go for only one journal, they have gone to several journals to go for publication in a diverse different way because they brought up different type of perception from that piece of study. So, and they particularly, try to relate that, if it is ethically related, they took it to the ethical journal, certain of the areas. If it is more kind of a medical related points, they went to the medical journal. So, they published 5 to 7 articles in different journals based on one big piece of work. And this is a kind of a very random example is there in the work. No? So, I really want to know about the ethicality, Professor, onto this. Is it ethical or it is thank you.
Yeah, I'll give a comment and Shamima can give her comments as an expert in publication ethics now. I think that it really depends on I talked about earlier today on the responsibility of people to publish the findings to the audience that it is useful. So in that sense, yes, we do have a responsibility if we publish in the language of biochemists, in the language of philosophers, in the language of communicators, in the language of medical doctors. So if our findings are very relevant, we do have an ethical obligation to publish our findings. So we need to either cite or mention parts of the study were published in this other journal, and then I think it is ethical. And then it's up to the peer reviewers and policy of the journal if they accept that amount of duplication. But yes, I think it is appropriate to do. That's my opinion. Shamima?
Okay. Thank you, Nazmin, for your questions and critics. First question, that is the target group. Yeah, my intention was I will cover the person who are working in the medical. But later on, I cannot get that means sample. Okay, only the medical student I want. That's why I should actually omit before present. Okay, this is I am clarifying. And second thing is the different journal. Yeah, you can send different article from one research, but all the things have to be different. Context, background, literature review, result, everything and conclusion. But what we do from a thesis, material method is same, then the introduction is same, but the result is, suppose I bring out the 3 articles, one from the plagiarism, one from the conflict of interest, one from the authorship. Can I? No, because when I write down the methodology, same methodology, it is called the self-plagiarism. It is same, the consequences is the same as the plagiarism. And in the world, there is some group sitting to looking the article, and when they are received, there is any fabrication or the falsification of result, and the plagiarism, they withdraw, they make a seal on that paper, that is called the retraction. It is happening in the world now. So we are actually in fear that 20 years before, 10 years before, when I do not know about the publication ethics, I did some, and later on you will see that Shamima Parvin's paper is sealed by the retraction in the view, maybe. So I think it is very important to know everybody.
And also too important to be clarified as well, because as Professor Dale was telling, like, you produced a knowledge which has different dimension into it, and then it is your responsibility to put that knowledge to different audience. So audience can be different, and you have to reproduce the knowledge from one of your main itself. Then to go for, like, for instance, like now you are going to write for a bioethics related journal, you go in one way of the ethical aspect. Now we really want to go in a journal which is more kind of a institutional capacity development related, knowledge enhancement related, then you will go to another way. But your certain methodology will remain same, but you reproduce the knowledge according to the need of the audience. So that is plagiarism, or?
This is self-plagiarism. This is self-plagiarism. If you don't say that this paper was published before, we have to declare. We have to declare. So if you declare, it is your intention. Reader will understand your intention. You are not hiding something.
Okay, yeah.
This is
declare.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Niaz, do you have some comments, please?
We are inspired by your courage to go for certain number of PhD multipliers.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. In fact, I was really tired. I was sitting here, but I could listen very carefully. At first I beg to be excused for that. It's very important, and I think very, very important for the researchers and those who will be going for publication, because in most cases we don't follow ethics. This is what I should tell you 2-3 stories what happened in my life. I spent 12 years in the University of Brussels, where I have seen most of the research work, it is funding coming from those who are the beneficiaries. Beneficiaries coming with the fund So that research work will take place and they will use that research findings in their organization. I think it's not bad, it's a very good idea, the research is being integrated regularly. Here, I headed back in the year 1987 and I joined the University of ICDDRB as a scientist. And my publication number was not much. And I had been working with a Nobel laureate, David Nosing probably. And the Nobel laureate said the number of publications is not important. Quality of publication should be more important. And what you are doing research must have policy implications, program implications. Otherwise, simply merely increasing the number doesn't make any sense. It was insignificant. So my publication number was not much. When I joined in ICDDRB, what we saw, one person came to me and said, Dr. Niaz, you please have a look at this paper and your name will be included. I said, how many names have already been included? I see 4 or 5. No matter 6, 7 or 50, normally we use in ICDDRB's publication. Taharapa is here. Taharapa familiar with some of these things. Taharapa? Yeah, Niaz, I'm Niaz. You know me.
Of course I know you, Niaz. What
You've
you say?
forgotten me.
No, I've not forgotten you.
So what happened? One, and I said, how many publications by this time you have completed? And he said, 41 publications. I was really surprised that with 41 publications, what's your position? Assistant scientist. I was just thinking that he's assistant scientist with 41 publications and I'm scientist with 5-6 publications. I was really, and then I wanted to see his publications, 41 publications. Ultimately, I could find out there is one publication was in fact modern. And rest of the publication, he is a statistician. If mother dies, what's the probability of death, you know? If only one child, what's the probability of 2 child, 3 child, 4 child? If all male, all female. In this way, 41 publication. I was really surprised to see it is plagiarism, but beyond that, what it is, I don't want to say. But if it is our research work, what we are doing, and hoping that research will benefit the people, how it is benefiting. Second thing, I joined in World Bank funded project. I worked there for 3 years. So initially, and that was my, after I said it here, that was the experience. I was really surprised. What happened? They wanted, no, and then I was involved in 4th 5-year plan in Bangladesh, planning commission. Oh, please don't mind, I'm telling some story, you have some time. But it is relevant in the sense that what Shamima produced, it's a wonderful, it's very important. We were not that much, involved that what should be the ethics, what's the other things. But what I wanted to tell you, that was the problem globally, what's the problem we are facing. So what happened is that planning commission, 4th 5-year plan here decided. And they are setting target in the 4th 5-year plan. Setting target, what basis? No, I think that long-term method is going down. It should be increased. Then male contraception is going down. It should be increased. So what could be done? Male contraception should be from 1% to 10%. Long-term method should be 10% to 20%. This way they are setting targets. And I said I spent 12 years in the University of Lasker. What I know, how you are setting targets, there are 2 ways of setting targets. One, That is time series data. Time series data says that it will lead you to here in this place after 5 years. So we could draw the conclusion that this is the trend, and after 5 years we will reach it. Another way of setting target that we are going down really, but we are providing this sort of resources, this sort of funding, and this funding, I think, slowly it will lead us. They said, no, the information coming from the ministry, even Para was also that time running here UNFPA, and it is Para requested that it should be the target. And 4 years have passed. 4 years have passed. And that time I became the Director General of PAB. And in the presentation, Danish Cha was there, Abul Babar was there. Then I mentioned that what is your findings of 4-5 years? In reality, quantum long-term method is further going down instead of going up. Your target setting was not properly. So the important thing is whatever we do, it must have some implication. And the research, what we are doing at this moment, if the research is to the help of Shamima only, it is not projected, it is her individual knowledge. Second thing, it could be her individual knowledge, and when she is disseminating among us, it will be somehow her friends and other intellectuals will be knowing. But it is the right forum, I should say, for this presentation, because we are publishing, we are writing, it is the right forum for this case. But most of the cases, it is not the right forum. Say, I am doing research on salt-resistant rice, in postal bed, but postal bed people they don't know anything about it. It is disseminated among us, and then it is going to archive or published, peer review, whatever it is. So it has no relevance. The thing is, this knowledge, individual knowledge, should be institutional knowledge. Then from institutional knowledge, then it should be social knowledge. What is that? I mean, I said they invented ORT long ago, 60s. It was for a long time in the ICT archive. So many research was in Indian archive, sleeping there. So suddenly some other people realized that it should be practiced in ICT with the patient coming for an hospital. So they started utilizing this ORT somehow. And it is a good result coming. And when I was very young, I came to that and I came to know that don't afraid of cholera. If you are getting cholera, we will be taking you to ICD-DRT and you will be, no people is going to die because of this ORT. So it became institutionalized. In the year 1777-78, I came for data collection. I was working with crack people in Manipur. And they saw 10, 15, 20 young girls, they are moving in villages, rural villages. What they are doing? They are popularizing this ORT, how to prepare saline. And against the will of WHO. WHO said that more death there will be because you don't know the proportion of salt and other things if you cannot do it. In Angule Chinti will not work. But against the will of ICD-10 WHO, drug and ICD-10 started popularizing. And now you know universal access ORT in Bangladesh almost. Because it became a social knowledge. So what I believe our research, whatever we do, should not be confined and it should be disseminated properly. What Shamima is doing, and we can understand what is legalism. But today's problem, biggest problem, legalism is one. That is knowledge is going to be polluted. Seriously polluted. Why it is polluted? Say, for example, I am basically what I did, I was involved in research in development economics. I was a development economist. And as an economist, what I did, I tried to see the economic laws. I tried that this development should be pivoted around the economic laws. Demand, supply, this, that, it should not be beyond that. Then it will be not my supply and I'll be It's a dangerous thing. And what happened? First man, I have great respect for her, that's Amartya came out of that. He developed his thesis, undertaking research of famine, that demand supply is not one. Economists are very annoyed. He is economist and he is talking against demand and supply. Then he tried to introduce values in economics. Economics is the value-based science, and he is trying to introduce values in economics. He is not economist. And lastly, what he did when he went to Harvard University working with John Rawls. John Rawls is not an economist. He is a political scientist. And they wrote a book, Utilitarianism and Beyond. And then they said, you are again crossing the boundary of economics. You are not economist. You should not get Nobel Prize in economics. And they opposed European scholars. But ultimately, it is the galaxy of economics. That means the law will try to keep it within the law. The economists will try to keep it. So this is the biggest problem we are facing. That is, most of the problem is issue-based problems. But what we do, we just try to make it subject-based, discipline-based solution. So issue-based problem, discipline-based solution. That's one. So these are the problems we are recently facing. Congratulations for wonderful thing. It will be useful for me. Perhaps sometimes I am also involved in literacy and I could questions about this that I should report and there should be rules and regulations that one should be that if I involved in this sort of thing. Thank you very much. I am sorry for
Thank you, Tahira. You had a reply?
I just have
Just before going,
Okay, sorry.
thank you, Neeraj bhai, for your coming in this program. Even though I know you have some other responsibilities and your health problem, I know. You have come here and give some remark. I am very happy to have you. And I really want some questions from the Professor Amanda and Dr. Mahamud. First of all,
I just want to respond to, I used to call him Niaz all the time, so I call him Niaz, I can't call him Dr. Niaz. Niaz, okay. One thing is that none of the donor agencies are really research oriented. So, and they don't believe in ivory tower research, they believe in research which is program related and related to the improvement of human life. So that is one thing. So, and regarding the rates of male methods and so on, Planning Commission recruits their own scientists, so-called scientists, from different agencies, including ICTDRB and universities. So, and they make the projections. Third thing is, if the statisticians were right, then the BMMS, Bangladesh Maternal Mortality Survey 2016, released on the 22nd of this month, showed that the MMR, maternal mortality rate, has increased then from BMS 2010. What happened? Quality of care has improved, doctors have been trained, nurses have been trained, midwives have been trained. So what happened? What did the statisticians do in BMS 2010? So that instead of 194, it has come down to it come up to 196. So these are the things we have to think about the statisticians and their findings.
critics.
Amar?
Critics.
No critics.
Honest critic.
Thank you, Appa. Good evening. Actually, I came here to such and like an observer. I just observe your thesis, PhD thesis. It's a good topics, and I think we should need to develop a curriculum to prevent the plagiarism, data falsifications, and copying data is now become the habit in the most of the young generation. We as a director BMRC, I find lots of papers which full of data falsifications and plagiarism, and sometimes we write the principal author, please don't do this. If you do this next time, we will not publish anything from your sites. So it is important, and I think in the postgraduate level, we should teach our students how to write a manuscript, how to publish an article. So if we can teach them this, we can minimize this type of falsifications. We can copy. International is accepted up to 15% that you can copy from any others, but there should be a limit. So actually they don't know about the falsification and plagiarism, and it is very true for all of us. I think the seniors also don't know what's about the plagiarism. So it is a very important topic you did, and so thank you. You become the PhD to the power square.
Masters to the power infinity.
Yes.
Masters to the power infinity.
So thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Bouillon, do you have some any points of critique, please?
Yes.
How can she improve it? Thank you.
I don't have any criticism or anything else. That's a very fine works. But I would like to share some things with you. Professor Shamima, she's very favorite personality to me. That's another question or things. You actually, as I can understand your research, that's a very important way to find out the attitude towards the publication ethics of students, particularly students from or researchers from medical sciences. Am I right? Yes. Okay. But there are many things I think you can incorporate there. For example, you have informed consent form you've attached at the end of your dissertation. But you can go to the researchers to ask about the knowledge of informed consent. So what will be the nature of informed consent? What will be the relationship between researcher and the subject of research, particularly when the human is the subject of research. Informed consent is very ethical, significant issue, That's the first thing. Second thing is that there are different kind of model of informed consent. There is a paternalism, there is a relational autonomy, beneficiary model, and many models are there. So in the context of Bangladesh, so I am very much worried about Bangladesh because we are doing many things. We are doing economics, but we don't have any own type or pattern of economic model or economic theories. But we have a very long and a prestigious history of civilizations as a part of Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh. So in this regard, I would like to ask you why you did not incorporate any kind of model which is very much relevant or compatible with the attitude and psychology of Bangladeshi people, so Bangladeshi researchers. So now, in Bangladesh, most of the cases, we are asking question in the pattern of questionnaire. We are going to the subject and ask the questions. What is this? What about knowledge? Anything else? But we never consider the mental situations of the subject. We never consider the economic situations of the subject. We never inform the subject what he will get benefit from the research, why he will be involved with this research. Most of the cases, only PG and ICTGLP, they have only ethical review board. But I'm working on ethical review board. Most of the cases, I must want to say, most of the public universities, they don't have any ethical review board. My university created a ethical review board after long-term bargaining with the university and me. They formed a ethical review board in the last academic council, and I was that protagonist to pressurize, create a institutional review board. But they are doing research without getting any ethical clearance. They are doing research without knowing any sort of knowledge about the relationship between researcher and subject. What would be the relationship between researcher and subject? Most of the cases, the subject doesn't know why they will be involved with the research and when they can withdraw themselves from the research. They don't know these things. So I think if you can incorporate these things in your further research, I never ask you to do something for your third PhD dissertation. If you want to write something, you can incorporate these things there. So then it will be a very complete and perfect works related on publication ethics or research ethics, as I can understand. That is my observations. After all, you did a lot of hard work there, so I must say congratulations. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I will incorporate the IRD in my chapter. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Nez, please use the mic. Turn the mic on. Thank you, Nez.
One thing, it will be very useful for our students. I am a teacher now. If you kindly make it precise, not 200-page document, it should be only 5-6 pages, so that the curriculum of what we are covering in research methodology should go there, and it will be further benefited before undertaking the research work. They will be cautious about all these things. It will be very, very useful. Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or suggestions?
So we conclude.
Okay, so I think we can conclude. Well, thank you very much, Shamima. I think the thesis is excellent work. It will provide, in this case, it is fine to publish papers based on your thesis. It's not a duplicate publication, as long as you reference your PhD thesis. And each of the modules together will become a very useful resource. And I think it's globally useful. Plagiarism remains a major issue. Authorship disputes are a major issue. And hopefully this moves forward the publication ethics. So we congratulate you and commend you for your work. Thank you, Shamima.